Well, I'm going to tell the story because it's more accurate. When I went to kindergarten, my two older sisters had gone to the same school that I was going to, and my mother was a stickler for you listen to everything the teacher says. Okay, so I come back from school, and Mama said, you know, how'd it go? And I said, oh, Mama, I liked the teacher, but there was this little fat boy that wouldn't keep his head down when we were supposed to take a nap, and all he did was talk.
That's true. It was at Audubon Kindergarten, right off
that's
Broadway
where we met.
in New Orleans, by Audubon Park.
And then we probably picked up after he moved, and I moved to a small town from New Orleans called Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. And we lived 3 houses from each other, and he was like, I was like one of the gang of 5 boys. There were enough girls in my family. I'm one of 7 girls and 2 boys. And so I just loved going and doing guy things. So he was like a big brother, obnoxious sometimes, but a big brother.
And she was a big tomboy, so, and I lived on the beach, and she was 2 houses off the beach, the water in front, Gulf of Mexico. And so that she learned how to fish and swim and water ski and sail, and then how to clean the fish. That's important too. And then I had a little skiff, we called it, a little fishing boat, no motor. You had to learn how to row, and I taught her how to row, of course. But we would go fishing. We had such a great, wholesome life. It was just wonderful.
It was just a very simple life that we grew up.
I learned how to play the ukulele too. I hadn't told you that. And so a big night out, we'd go get a nice cold Coke and garlic bread, play the uke and sing corny songs. All the wholesome old ways in those days.
Well, and it was a big surprise to my parents when we went from being platonic to realizing that there was more to it than just a good friend. He had already gone to college for a year. I was getting ready to go to nursing school, and the interest of a former boyfriend kind of nudged him a little bit, I think.
Yeah, he
but
Olympic swimmer from Oklahoma.
He went away, and I went away.
And she had his ring and his jacket.
No, not at the time. But anyway.
Oh, at the time you didn't? Okay.
We just figured that there was more to it, that, you know, we admired each other, and
so much in common.
Yeah. But anyway, he went to college. I was in nursing school. If I had $5 for a month, that was a lot of money, okay? So he would hitchhike in to see us every 6 weeks. He would, back then, they paid $25 for a pint of blood. Now you just give out of the goodness of your heart, but back then they paid you. So he would come into town, he'd go give a pint of blood, and if I was one of my weekends off, I only got a weekend a month off. But anyway, we would go out to eat, we would go to the show, and then we would go to the Fountain Lounge, which was
dance,
and then the next day we'd go somewhere for breakfast, and you had a bus ticket back.
And then
I didn't
have to hitchhike back because you had to be back to school.
Every 6 weeks, we knew we had a date like that. So
because you could give blood every 6 weeks.
If he came in between that, our date was maybe getting on the streetcar and riding all the way around the streetcar line.
Or the
and
ferry
just sitting
boat.
And talking, or getting on the ferry boat and ride, because neither one of us had any money. We got married in 1957, so back then, women did not work. Women were homemakers. And if a woman worked, it was kind of a put down to the man that they couldn't afford for their wife to stay home. And I felt I didn't go through nursing school to not work. And Penny supported that I would work, which was good. I mean, I loved it. He was a salesman, so if I had to work evenings, then he would try to work most of his stuff in the daytime. So we just made things work.
I've often said that I think the longevity is if you can find your best friend and happen to marry that gal or guy, you're way ahead of the game. And I miss her today if she goes to Public or Kroger or wherever it is, or church,
We're a
and I'm
little
not
bit
with
too
her.
much attached. I
Yeah,
think.
but it's just been that way, and I think it's the old wholesome good way, but it's a twosome team. And if you share it and you care about it, you'll stay together, you'll be in love, only more so. And then you can tell other young people, like we want to do tonight, the fun of it, the enjoyment. It's just great, and the time does go by.
We've been married 60 years. We still, the last thing we do when we go to sleep, we tell each other we love each other. We hug, and the same thing the first thing when we wake up.
Sometimes you have to get up to go to the potty more than you did when you were young. And I look over at that little sleeping beauty, and I think, how lucky I am. Even during the night, it's amazing. It's a real treasure. And for the ones that find it, they'll be absolutely happy forever. And then later on, if they have the faith that you have and we have, they will be in heaven. Amen.